Emily was excited. Tonight was the night she had been waiting for. Tonight, she was going to see her favorite singer live. Her favorite singer was Dua Lipa. She loved her and her music. She wanted to be like her, have a small, thin body and a perfect voice. However, reality was different. Emily was small and fat. She was unpopular and was going on her own. People didn't get on with Emily. There was always something about her they couldn't put their finger on. She was different. She had a problem with her stomach. Certain foods would set her off, stomach pains and flatulence. She was putting her makeup on for the night. She wanted to look her best. She spent hours on her makeup. She didn't want her idol to see her without her mask over her face. She skipped her dinner, opting to pick up something from a drive-thru, knowing that it might upset her stomach. She put on her best dress and headed out the door, her face buzzing. She got in her car and drove off to get food. She ordered as much food as she could before parking up and eating it quickly. She checked her watch. The performance was in an hour. She had to be quick. She started up the car engine. Suddenly, she felt her stomach rumbling, and then suddenly she let out a huge fart. There was no time to think. She had to get there quickly. She drove down the road as fast as she could before turning off to the stadium where the gig was being held. She swerved her car violently into the parking space and climbed out. She sprinted to join the queue, finally getting there and bending down with her hands on her knees to catch her breath. As she bent down, she farted loudly. The rest of the people in the queue looked at her, disgusted. The queue died down, and Emily showed her ticket to get into the stadium. There, she was approached by a promoter. She was asked if she wanted to take part in the big raffle, with the main prize being a tour behind the scenes and a chance to meet Dua herself. Emily bought a ticket with a huge grin on her face, her heart racing as she picked her number and signed her name. She didn't stand much of a chance, as over 5,000 people had also done the same, but it felt special to her. She moved into the stadium grounds to take her seat. She was buzzing with excitement, and she sat down and let out a massive fart. She was embarrassed. She wanted to remain quiet through the show, and so sat very, very still. The roar of the crowd faded as the arena faded to black. Then a spotlight came on. Dua Lipa ran onto the stage wearing a tight-fitting, glitzy costume that showed off her arched cheeks. Her dancers followed her onto the stage wearing similar outfits. The lights danced. Smoke blew out across the stage, and the stadium came alive with electrifying music. You want me, I want you, baby, my sugar boo. I'm levitating, the Milky Way is liberating, yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, thought Emily, amazed to see her idol performing right in front of her. She sat and listened, song after song, watching Dua and the dancers show off on stage. Emily wished she had a body like Dua's. She wished she could dance like she could. During the halftime, the stadium's speaker system spoke up to announce the winner of the backstage tour. The winner of the backstage tour is Emily Smith. What the fuck? Oh my god, yes! She could not believe it. She stood up, sweating. She was so excited she let out a small fart. She plodded up to claim her reward. She returned to the foyer where she was greeted by a woman. She had blonde hair and brown eyes. She was wearing tight black jeans and a black shirt. Are you Emily? Follow me. Emily was led by an assistant around the backstage. Oh, we've got a very special treat for you. What was your name again? My name's Emily. Yes, I thought so. Just checking. Well, we have a big surprise for you. Follow me. Emily followed the woman through the inner workings of backstage, walking through the changing rooms, the dancing girls looking at her. Emily could see they were whispering to each other. She thought they were laughing at her due to her size. As she passed through the corridor, she made sure to fart on her way out as revenge. If you'd just like to follow me this way. She led Emily down a corridor until she arrived at Dua's changing room. You're very lucky. You have 20 minutes with her. She can sign anything you have, and you can take photos. Emily entered, then she saw her. She couldn't believe it. Dua Lipa was standing there right in front of her. Dua was zipping up her dress as she had got changed out of the dress she had performed in. Oh, hi. You're early. Sorry, I'm just getting changed. Emily didn't know how to react. She managed to stutter some words out. I can come back if you want. Oh, don't be daft. Take a seat. Make yourself comfy. I won't be a moment. Emily was holding in a fart. She could feel it. She tried so hard to keep it. She didn't want to embarrass herself in front of her idol. Dua Lipa sat down on a makeup stool opposite Emily, a smile on her face. So what's your favorite song? Levitating. It's perfect. Why, thank you. Do you want me to sign a copy? Emily had brought with her a vinyl version of Dua's Future Nostalgia album. Oh, good choice. This one was my favorite to make. As Dua Lipa was signing, Emily let out a huge fart. The sound ripped through and a stench quickly filled the room. She went red. She couldn't believe what she had done. She was so upset. Dua Lipa smiled and laughed. Don't worry about it. I do them all the time, just when people aren't looking. I'm really sorry. I have a stomach problem. Oh, don't worry about it. Sometimes it's what you wear. If it's really tight-fitting, it's probably not good for you. I had the same experience. I got some new clothes, and they caused quite a stink, both with the paparazzi and in the room. Emily laughed. She felt calmed by this. Of course, it's a human thing, she thought. Can I get you a drink of anything? You may be a fan, but you are my guest. Dua Lipa stood up and went over to the coffee machine. As she did, her stomach rumbled. Oh, excuse me, I am getting hungry. Those performances really do me in. I need a lot of coffee to keep going. Emily could hear a strange noise coming from down the corridor in the dancers' changing room. She didn't know what it was, a sort of buzzing sound. Suddenly, Emily heard a much stranger noise coming from inside the room. As Dua Lipa bent down to get the coffee, she ripped a wet fart from her arse. See what I mean? Apologies, that was a loud one. Emily laughed. She felt comforted by this. Dua Lipa looked increasingly uncomfortable. She sat back down again and farted for a second time. Oh, there I go again. The stench filled the small room quickly. I guess that makes us equals. Yes, it does, I suppose. I guess these clothes are a tight fit after all. But she's better than my last skin. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. Emily didn't understand what Dua meant and just nodded along. Before I go, would I be able to see your wardrobe? You have such lovely dresses, and I was thinking of getting one just like it. Yeah, sure. Take a peek. Emily moved towards Dua's wardrobe, eager to see what was inside. As she got closer, her heart started racing. Behind her, Dua Lipa got up and walked towards the mirror. She pouted and started to twerk in front of the mirror, keeping an eye on Emily. Emily opened the wardrobe. Suddenly, she screamed. Ah! What is it? It looks like a skin. She looked at the suit in front of her. She thought she recognized the face. It was the promoter from before, the one who she bought the ticket off. This is sick. There's zip in his skin? She turned around to Dua, who was smiling at Emily. She was filing her nails and didn't seem that bothered by what was going on. Emily noticed that there was a small zip in Dua's forehead. Oh my God. Dua Lipa farted loudly. That's my skin's way of telling me I need to be naked. You were a good chat, Emily, but let's see if you taste as nice. Dua Lipa reached for her forehead. As she started to tug her zip, blue light was emitted, and she began to moan in pleasure as she closed her eyes. She opened the zip across her forehead until she got to the back of her head. She then opened it, pulling her scalp back and then starting to push her human face down. She was a Slitheen. The big, green, bulky alien had found its way into her small, petite body. Its claws swung free out of Dua's, and as she pulled the skin down past her arse, it flopped to the floor. Emily screamed as the Slitheen stood up at full height and lunged towards her. She couldn't get past it. She cowered in the corner, curling up, with tears running down her face. There was a wet crunch, and Emily was dead.